Imagine an army, trained, equipped, and backed by a government. Now imagine that same army, deployed to a battlefield, only to be utterly defeated by birds. This isn't a joke or some ancient myth. This is what happened in Australia in 1932. And the question isn't just how this happened, but why a modern military with machine guns failed so spectacularly against, well, emus. To understand this bizarre conflict, we need to transport ourselves to Western Australia in the early 1930s. The world was in the grip of the Great Depression, and Australia was no exception. Ex-soldiers, many veterans of World War I, had been encouraged by the government to settle on agricultural land in Western Australia, often to grow wheat. They faced harsh conditions, arid soil, and the constant struggle of making a living. But that spring, a new, unforeseen enemy emerged from the vast, dusty plains. An estimated 20,000 emus, displaced from their natural habitats by land clearing and a prolonged drought, began migrating towards the coast, directly through the newly established farmlands. These weren't just a few birds. We're talking about a living, breathing tide, devouring crops, trampling fences, and utterly destroying the livelihoods of these struggling farmers. The emus were effectively committing agricultural terrorism, and the farmers, many of whom were ex-servicemen, felt trapped and desperate. Their pleas for help reached the government, who, eager to avoid unrest from its veteran population, decided to take a drastic, and as it turned out, utterly misguided, step. Defence Minister Sir George Pearce, perhaps seeing this as a novel form of military exercise, or perhaps underestimating the intelligence of a flightless bird, authorized an extraordinary military operation. He dispatched a small detachment of soldiers from the Royal Australian Artillery, led by Major G.P.W. Meredith, to wage war on the emus. Their arsenal: 2 Lewis automatic machine guns and 10,000 rounds of ammunition. An army equipped to fight men, now sent to fight birds. But what they were about to discover was that these aren't just any birds. These are emus. Major Meredith and his men arrived in Campion in early November 1932, full of confidence. They expected quick results. After all, what could a bird do against a machine gun? They quickly located a flock of around 50 emus. The plan was simple: open fire and watch them fall. But the emus, it turned out, had other plans. As soon as the firing started, the flock scattered in all directions, moving with surprising speed and agility, making them incredibly difficult targets. The Lewis gun, designed to be fired from a static position, was mounted on a truck. But the truck couldn't keep up with the erratic movements of the birds over the uneven terrain. The initial attempts were a complete disaster. The soldiers managed to kill only a handful of birds, and in some skirmishes, the emus seemed to be almost toying with them. One famous incident recounted how Major Meredith's men attempted to ambush a flock of over 1,000 emus. They set up on a dam, waiting for the birds to approach. But an unknown force spooked the emus, and they broke ranks, running in every direction except towards the machine guns. It was humiliating. The soldiers, trained for human warfare, found themselves outmaneuvered by creatures with seemingly no tactical mind. As the days turned into weeks, the frustrations mounted. The machine guns were proving ineffective. The emus, it seemed, had an uncanny ability to either disperse before the soldiers could get a clear shot, or to simply absorb the bullets. An emu, standing at up to 6 feet tall and weighing over 100 pounds, is a surprisingly resilient creature. Moreover, they learned quickly. After the first few encounters, they started to split into smaller, harder-to-target groups. Their natural intelligence, coupled with their sheer numbers, created an insurmountable challenge for the military. The media, both local and international, quickly caught wind of the unfolding spectacle. Newspapers around the world ran headlines mocking the Australian military, painting a picture of an army being utterly humiliated by birds. The Emu War became a global laughingstock. Despite the mounting criticism, Defence Minister Pearce remained stubborn. He decided to send more ammunition, urging Meredith to modify his tactics. The soldiers tried new strategies, ambushes at waterholes, driving the emus into fences, even attempts at using the trucks to chase them down. But each new tactic was met with the same frustrating results. In one desperate attempt, a machine gun was mounted directly onto a truck, chasing after the birds across the open plains. The idea was to keep pace and spray them with bullets. But the emus, even at 30 miles an hour, were unpredictable. They would suddenly change direction, leap over obstacles, and zigzag through the harsh landscape, making accurate targeting nearly impossible. The truck, bouncing over the rough terrain, made firing accurately a futile exercise. The soldiers were spending vast quantities of ammunition for paltry returns. After almost a month, with thousands of rounds fired and only a few hundred emus confirmed killed, the operation was deemed a definitive failure. Major Meredith and his men were recalled. What they discovered next, or rather, what they confirmed, was a profound lesson in asymmetrical warfare. The official casualty count for the EMUs was never definitively established, but estimates ranged from a few hundred to perhaps 1,000. For the Australian military, the cost in ammunition alone was staggering. The Emu War, though a comical anecdote in history, left a lasting mark. It highlighted the sheer resilience of nature, the unpredictable nature of conflict, and perhaps a touch of human hubris. To this day, the Emu War remains a bizarre, almost unbelievable footnote in military history. It's a testament to the fact that sometimes the most unexpected adversaries can prove to be the most formidable. The emus didn't have generals or battle plans, but they had instinct, numbers, and an environment that favored them. And in the end, that was more than enough to defeat a nation's military. It's a reminder that not all wars are fought against conventional enemies, and sometimes the biggest battles are the ones you never expected to fight. If you want more stories about humanity's strange encounters with the natural world, the next video explores